我们今天采访节目的嘉宾是 Dr. Michael Huang， 他是在北加州的一位华裔家庭科医生。在新冠疫情中，他不但只救治了很多的新冠病人和帮助很多疫苗副作用的受害者，而且他在这个过程中看见州政府错误政策所带来的种种的恶果。他觉得要帮助更多的人，不能够只靠一个一个的帮助病人，而是需要在政策上进行改变，所以他就决定参选州参议员。那今天的采访呢，就是深度的访谈他的这个政治理念和他以后怎么样参政。
And in the past 2 years, really tests my conviction as far as why I in medicine. And who am I really there to serve? Is it to serve me? Is it to serve the insurance I have a contract with? Or is it to serve the patient? So when the pandemic began, I was in private practice. So it's a perfect environment for me to really do things that I see fit. That's the best benefit for my patient, not being told by a large medical company and your health group, do a checklist on medicine and whatnot. I have treated well over 2,000 COVID patients, 100% success rate. And then I look at all the social lockdown restrictions, collateral injuries. I knew that we're in for a long road. And there's a lot of societal damage and just, the most concerning thing is that we can no longer converse and exchange idea if you don't believe in certain type of I would say propaganda, a certain type of doctrine. You're being looked at as someone is spreading false information. And I've helped over 3,000 people keeping their job from the vaccine mandate, and over 1,000 kids come off face mask. And realize I can work another, I can see another 10,000 people and help them with exemptions and treating them with COVID injuries and vaccine injury. It won't make any difference because all the mandates and socialistic measure, all the collateral injuries legislatures are coming from the state, coming from the Senate. So if I don't do something about that and get in there and let the people from the community have a voice and saying that, hey, we have a constitutional right. That means to protect our property, be it physical property or health property. And you cannot force these type of things on us as experimental, that we'll never get through this pandemic in one piece. 我有被问过这些问题 I never done politics before. I'm a physician. How would I affect or make a difference? Mm-hmm. I think it's very important. We need to look at all we have are experienced politicians. I think that's the reason why the state is not doing well. They are experienced, they are career politicians. They are here for donation, for their campaign funds, for special interests. Every one of us need to be a politician. You need to be a politician, or your listener need to be a politician. Why is that? We need to realize that this country is not China, it's not Taiwan, it's America. We are founded on the principle of Constitution and the Bill of Rights. That means we have the right to the right of pursue our happiness, protection of free speech, and protection of property, including our health. So when we say, okay, we don't want to speak up, we'll comply to the vaccination, we will give you whatever money that you want because of heavy taxation burden. When there's so much homelessness and environmental issues, we just kind of leave it up to the career, quote unquote, experienced politicians do their job. We're basically giving away our right, which is the right of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, which is the supreme law of the land. Mm-hmm. That anything that goes contrary to the Constitution and the liberty and the Bill of Rights, it's a violation. It's criminal, right? So when they go after your health and your kids' health with these experimental vaccines, when you go after your free speech, if you're found to say certain things, we're going to cancel you on YouTube and Instagram. It's a violation of the supreme law of the nation, of the state, which is the Constitution. That every one of us has to stand up and say we cannot comply. So every patient I see in my office and every people in my community I talk to when I go on my campaign stump is we need to learn that we have to not comply peacefully, because we have that. We all need to exercise our right to, as an American, as a citizen, that we have the protection of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, that no one can rule over us like they are we are their slave. Okay, so that's what I would like to basically utilize, is to galvanize the support from the community. This is the reason why I've been traveling and being very busy, meeting and make connection with people up in North and South California to build that grassroots support, that grassroots energy to put pressure on all the politicians that's over at Sacramento and say, oh, okay, if Senator Huang said that he doesn't agree with certain type of bill, that you're going to hear from, 15 million of your constituents. And because we are all realize and understand what our constitutional right is, that we cannot be violated and trampled on. So that's what I'm going to rely on. It's not just me. I cannot change the state as a single person. Even if that's it, I'm elected as a governor, I had no power. I can only do so much. So we had to educate every one of us, not just on West Coast, all across the nation, to understand our right as a citizen of America and understand the supreme law of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. So I'll do everything I can to fight. We have about 10 different bills over at the legislature that are going to restrict and further take away your ability to of free speech and the exchange of idea. They're going to take away the only thing that we can use to make sure that our science is still valid and still functional, which is free debate. They want to take that away and make it a criminal act that if you say anything against their belief or principle. So those are the things that I'm going to go in there and do everything I can to be very vocal, to vote against any type of bills that's going to violate our right and take away our liberty. And secondly, I think there's the first couple months, it's basically to ensure and let everyone know, hey, I made it to the Senate. As a representative of reasoning, a representative of good practice of medicine and common sense in Sacramento. And let's go ahead, make connection with Northern Southern California. Let's make sure that grassroots effort, build up the grassroots, make sure it's strong, that we can put pressure on all the assemblymen and senator that they need to take notice, that they cannot violate our right and hurt our children and take away our business anymore. Your job is to make sure that your rights are not trampled on, not violated. So once people realize that, then they will not comply to anything that doesn't make sense, which is the majority of the laws and legislation. When everyone don't comply, then we're not going to have all these collateral injuries. So me as a politician, the most important job I have once I get in there is to ensure and remind people that you have a constitutional right. And I'll do everything I can to be your mouthpiece. 在 West Coast 跟 East Coast 现在有一个很大的问题，就是 homelessness。这个 homelessness 这个问题都可以影响到我们每一个人。你要做生意啊，或者是你要带你小孩出去。现在在加州这里，大部分人都不敢去海边，不敢去 San Francisco area， 太多 homeless people。这些 homeless people 这个问题是很重要的一个问题，为什么呢？因为现在我们就是想说，你如果犯罪啊，在外面吸毒，我们就是不要惩罚你 ，right? We want to be compassionate, but being compassionate actually create a lot more issue. These people need help. They need counseling. They need drug rehab. We need to be hard on crime. If they commit a crime, there's no exceptions. And they will be taken away and processed. And some people say, well, there's few homeless people, they got kids. Yes, that's more of a reason to take care of them instead of saying just let them live on the street. So being hard on crime, providing proper counseling, drug rehab, and do not give them free money. Right? San Francisco, there's policy that they're going to build this $500,000 apartment for the homeless people and also give them free money. every time they get the money, 他们就是要出去到外面去买一些毒品 right? They're going to get the next high. That's the worst thing you can do to a drug addict, just get the money. Homelessness is very important. And secondly, business friendliness. Many Asian people, 华人大部分的人都是做生意啊 business and whatnot. The business environment in West Coast. Dr. Lin, you're up at Washington, right?
对。
Yeah. So, especially in California, I'm sure over at your state, everyone's fleeing the West Coast. Why are they fleeing? Why aren't young people staying? It's just because the housing are too expensive. The environment to do business is next to impossible. I have a private business. Everything I buy, even this flag and the street behind me, I count as a business property. And every year, even though I already pay sales tax, I still had to pay tax every year, even though I paid tax once, right? And I think just the business environment, we need to have less tax burden. California has a budget surplus, but that's on the back of the highest tax in the nation. Are we able to operate with the budget of Texas, the tax rate of Texas, the tax rate of Idaho, the tax rate of Florida? We can't. Okay, so we're gonna minimize and reduce that waste. So I think for Asian American, that's also very important. And the other thing is education, right? They want to do away with testing and scores and whatnot. They need to even out the admission in college. And for us Asian, education is very important. We spend tremendous energy to educate our kids so they can get to good school. So now the school want to eliminate that and look at what the kids, what they merit, how much they can achieve in scores and whatnot. I don't think it's fair. We need to make sure that school is a place where people can go and get educated, not a place where they can go just kind of like an equality, race equality thing. So these are some of the things that I definitely want to concentrate on as a state senator. Fiscal responsibility, thinning out the forests, especially in California. The forests are way too thick, and that saps up all the water and snowpack that get dropped in the Sierra, right? So there's less water coming down to the river, coming down to the reservoir, because it goes all into the root system of the tree. So that can reduce the intense fire.
Because the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away.